captain's log, stardate 21/21/5. It's been almost 100 years since the coronavirus infected our home planet of Earth. Almost 100 years ago to the day that our parent company, SpaceX, sent its first manned flight on that fateful day into the heavens, spreading this horrible, horrible virus to the solar system and beyond. Our mission here on the SpaceX Enterprise has been for the last 25 years to locate an inhabitable planet for civilization to occupy or colonize, as we like to call it back in the olden days. Unfortunately for us, the coronavirus got better. It got stronger. And today, 100 years later, we call it Stella Artois. About a week ago, a resupply ship, SpaceX Dracarius, met us for a resupply. It was at that moment, unfortunately, that some crew members who were not guiding by the rules of social distancing somehow contaminated SpaceX Enterprise with the Stella Artois. Unfortunately, it was at that moment that Stella Artois somehow made its way onto our vessel. As people started getting sick and crew members started falling ill to this new, stronger, richer, and golden-looking virus, we started secluding them deck by deck.
Captain.
As the virus continues to spread deck by deck.
Captain.
What? Damn it. Ahura, what
We
is
have
it?
an emergency transmission coming in.
All right. Put it up. Let's hear it. Dude, for real? You have one job. I could literally get a monkey to do your job. Can we hear it in English, please?
Yes.
Gee, whiskers.
Hello? Hello, Grubby? Grubby, is that you? I don't know how to work these things. Look, the Klingons are here. They have the Stella Artois, and...
Grubby!
Yes, Captain.
Who is that guy?
Oh, it's my uncle. Ready.
All right. Go ahead and get us ready for warp speed. I guess we got to go do what we do and save the day.
You got
Ahura,
it,
get
Captain.
ready.
Lickety-splicky.
Let's go.
Right, here we go.
Grubby, why are we going backwards?
Because I put it in reverse.
We need to go D for drive. Forwards.
Right. Give
Warp
it another
speed.
D, sir.
Let's go.
All right.
Is that the space shuttle Atlantis? Damn it, Grubby! You
Yes?
took us to the past!
Well, at least my uncle is safe.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and liftoff. The final liftoff of Atlantis. On the shoulders of the space shuttle, America will continue the dream.
Program, Houston. Roger, roll, Atlantis.
Houston now controlling the flight of Atlantis. The space shuttle spreads its wings one final time for the start of a sentimental journey into history.
Welcome to the Green Room.
Hello and welcome back to the Green Room. Today we are talking all about space.
And because we're talking about space, I got some out-of-this-world questions that I'm going to ask you.
Oh.
Question number 1, what do you think space smells like?
Probably like an old tire.
An old tire. Well, you'd be close. Chris Hadfield with the Canadian Space Administration recently did an interview with Wired explaining what space smells like.
Probably heard that space has a smell, maybe like burnt steak or some type of barbecue. That's true. When you come in from a spacewalk, you're surrounded by the emptiness of space. It's sort of like the opposite of air. There's nothing there at all. When you quickly repressurize the hatch and you open up the hatch and you smell, what is that lingering smell from a place that used to be exposed to space? The smell in there is a little bit like that trace of a smell of gunpowder or burnt steak, or to me it's sort of like brimstone, like a witch has just been there. It's a cool, lingering trace of a smell. I think what it really is the emptiness of space, the vacuum of space, is actually pulling trace chemicals out of the metal of the walls of the ship. Little bits of stuff you never smell because normally there's air pressure holding them into the metal. They're slowly off-gassing those tiny little trace gases and trace particles that otherwise they never get into your nose. And those are released. It's sort of that metallic gunpowder-fired smell. That's where the smell's coming from. Maybe it's not even coming from space. It's just sort of coming from space's effect on our ship. Yeah, in truth, it smells a little bit like a burnt steak.
That's really gross. Do you think it's like a bonfire? Like, you know when you go to a bonfire and your clothes smell?
Yeah, it smells like that ashy smell.
So when they get back, you're like...
Or you come back from like a really heavy barbecue.
Yeah.
You know, where everyone just burnt all the food. But what do you think about explosions? Do you think if something exploded in space, because we see all these science fiction movies where, you know, spaceships explode and you hear like this big loud rumble. Do you think that actually happens?
Okay, so are we talking about in the space shuttle or if I'm outside
like
of the
if you're
space
in the
shuttle?
vacuum of space, do you think you can hear an explosion?
Yeah?
Actually, you'd be wrong.
Really?
Yes. Chris Hadfield explains why.
Okay.
Will it make a sound, and could a human hear it? It's a pretty easy question to answer. The sun is just an explosion. The sun is the biggest explosion any of us can imagine. It's a huge, continuous thermonuclear explosion. It's every atom bomb we've ever built, way more than that, continuously exploding. It would be the loudest thing imaginable. It's constantly happening, but we don't hear a whisper of it. And that's because there's nothing to carry the sound from the sun to us. Even though it's incredibly violent, there's nowhere for the pressure of all of that sound, all of that noise, to be carried across the emptiness of space to shake my eardrum in here and let me hear the sound of the sun. It's a good thing. It'd be deafening. So if something explodes in space, it makes sound, but there's no way for that sound to be carried across space so that I could hear it.
So we have air molecules all around us. So when we speak, when we do anything that causes sound, the vibrations are propagated through those molecules. Since there's none of that in space, you would never hear any sound in space. So in space, no one can hear you scream.
But he did say it still makes a sound.
It still makes a sound,
you just don't
but
hear
nobody
it.
will hear it.
That's interesting. It reminds me of that philosophy question, you know, if a tree falls in the forest and nobody's around to hear it, does it actually make a sound?
Oh,
well, according to this
if
astronaut,
it was in space,
yes.
no. Now, one of the things that I've always wondered is how astronauts go to the bathroom in space. Like, what are space toilets? What do you think?
Oh no! Please don't tell me they go in their suits.
Well, no. Oh, thank God, no. But it is a very intricate system of tubes and funnels. Okay. Max Massimino with NASA also did a Wired interview where he explains exactly the process of using the restroom on the space shuttle.
Okay, let's take a look.
On Earth, we deal with flush toilets, if that's available, hopefully, to you. You do what you need to do, and then you clean yourself up, and then it's on to the remainder of your day. But in space, it's different. The flights that I had in space were on the space shuttle. And on the space shuttle, we had a lavatory. It was called the WCS, the Waste Containment System. I think that was primarily because if you had a problem, you didn't want to call Houston, we have a problem, we messed up the toilet. It didn't have a lot of privacy, but it had some. It had a privacy curtain. And the WCS had a hose for urine, for you to urinate into, and a commode, more or less, for you to poop into. And we want to use the word poop? What do we want to? You can use whatever word you want. Poop's okay? We're not going to offend anyone around the planet here? Okay. Taking a pee on the space shuttle was pretty quick and easy. The hose came with an attachment that you would put on, which was a funnel. So everyone had their own. We didn't share funnels, and it was in a little compartment, and you'd open up the compartment, and there would be the 7 funnels, and you would take the appropriate one and attach it to the urine collection hose, and then you would turn the system on. What it does is it creates a little airflow so that it'll take the liquid down the hose and into the tank. And when that tank reached a level that it was full, we would do a urine dump out into space. It would kind of crystallize and disappear more or less in the vacuum of space. So it was okay to dump urine out there. If the sun was shining, it would shine through the dumped urine and you'd see kind of like a rainbow effect, and that was kind of cool. And when you were finished, you would then turn off the system, you would remove your funnel, you would clean it, and you would put it back in its appropriate space. Then you would clean up a little bit. The quickest way to do that was just use a wet wipe. We had hand sanitizer, you could use some of that, because you don't want to spread any germs or anything like that. You want to be very cautious. After you get a little experience, you could do other things like peeing upside down. This was a challenge given to me by a more experienced astronaut who said it is possible to pee upside down. You should try it, and you can. You just flip yourself upside down. You need to be a little more careful. You don't want to do that on day 1. You don't want to hot dog it too much, but it is possible to pee upside down, which is kind of cool. I've done that as well.
So I don't know about you, but peeing upside down is actually my preferred method.
That is very skillful. But the reason why we're asking all these questions today is because SpaceX has sent their first manned mission to the International Space Station. Let's take a look at that launch.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition.
Liftoff of the Falcon 9 and Crew Dragon. Go NASA, go SpaceX, Godspeed, bottom dog. America has launched. So rises a new era of American spaceflight, and with it the ambitions of a new generation continuing the dream.
Captain's log, 2121.7. They're all dead. The Stella Artois has ravaged the ship. And Uhura was the first to go. Oh, her eyelids. Her eyelids, they came off. And the captain has no legs. Oh, don't worry, Captain. Grubby will take over. Grubby will take over, and we will lead the best ship in the entire fleet. Once and for all, Grubby is the winner. He's
Grubby! That's my chair.
Jesus!
The Green Room.